Continue our coverage on SAA, and of course workers have only received half their salaries today. They're going to get the rest of it next week, Monday, we're told. For more on this, we are joined by Numsa Spokesperson Phakamile Hlubi-Majola. She joins us via Skype. Phakamile, thanks for your time, we appreciate it. One union confirming that their workers only received half of their salaries. Same to your workers as well?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers. We can confirm that employees at SAA only received half of their salaries. We received a communique from South African Airways Management after, as Numsa and SAA, we sent them a letter yesterday requesting clarity on this situation. They came back with an answer to say that they had not yet received the money which had been promised to them by government. And that was the reason why the salaries were delayed. They would only be able to pay 50% of the income today, and the other 50%, including the 13th check, would be paid by the 2nd of December.
This, of course, will have an impact on workers who have debit orders going out on the 26th.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It has a very negative impact on members. We already knew as early as last week, Friday, that there would be a delay with salaries. What we did not know at that stage was that only half the salary would be paid. So this is extremely worrying for us as a union, and very, very worrying for our members in particular.
Now, government has just issued a statement, Phakamile, saying that the strike action has resulted in a sudden deterioration of SAA's financial position. Things don't look good, especially since they gave in to the salary demands. Are you concerned about the well-being of SAA going forward?
We've always been concerned about the well-being of SAA. The purpose of the strike was in response to that. I think it's strange that they would blame the strike as being the reason for their financial woes, when it was the executive management of SAA that took a decision to cancel flights for 3 days. Secondly, government, as we understood it in our talks on Friday, gave confirmation to the board and management that monies would be available. So again, we find it strange that they would cite the strike as a reason for the delay, if that's what they're saying, for the payment. We're not convinced that that is in fact true. But nevertheless, the situation that we face right now is that money has not been forthcoming, and as a result of this, workers have not received their full income as of today.
What happens on Monday if government says we still don't have the money for salaries? What's your next move?
We are currently consulting our attorneys to see what our options are in this regard. We are hoping that that will not be the case, but we will be guided by the opinions that we get from our attorneys in terms of what legal options, if any, are available to us on this issue.
And what do you say to people who argue that unions and workers have actually put SAA in this financial mess? I mean, you, of course, have been saying it's corruption at the top that ultimately led to this.
Well, we've been very consistent. I think it's false for people to blame unions. This strike was sparked by a combination of mismanagement and corruption and looting right at the top. It's been very clear to us from the onset that government's plan was to collapse the airline so that they could liquidate it. I mean, Martin Kingston pretty much said as much a week ago. So it would be wrong for people to come to the conclusion that it's unions. The only reason that SAA continues to exist right now is because unions stepped in through the strike action to prevent them from liquidating the airline, which was their plan all along, from what we can see. Our strategy, even in terms of what we secured in the wage deal, is one that deals specifically with SAA's financial crisis. We have put there the establishment of a task team whose job is to do the job which the executive board and management have failed to do since 2015, which is to actually intervene on the procurement spend, a 25 billion rand per year procurement spend, which is directly responsible for SAA's extremely high costs. That procurement spend has been exposed in various forensic reports to be largely corrupt. Now, SAA board and management have refused to intervene not only in cancelling those contracts or renegotiating them or insourcing them for the benefit of the airline. Yeah. We had to go on strike in order to secure an agreement where workers through the task team will be doing that work. And we hope that, in fact, we don't just hope that, we know that that task team will recover savings, because we've already managed to do that at entities like South African Airways Technical, where because of our intervention, we've saved them 82 million. So again, this still comes back to problems right at the top. You will know, Shahan, that as we speak, they failed to pitch at Scopa to account and to actually explain why they've not delivered on 2 years of financials. Yeah. It's clear to us, and we've been saying this repeatedly, this board has failed to run this airline properly. In any other organization, a board which has brought an organization to the brink of collapse twice in the space of 4 years and has failed to produce financials would be fired. We're asking ourselves why that hasn't happened. And that's because, as far as we're concerned, there is a deliberate ploy to protect thieves and looters in the SAA board and at executive management, and it just means that as unions, we're going to have to work twice as hard to root them out.
It is a very, very messy situation. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. That was Numsa spokesperson Phakamile Hlubi-Majola.